Okay, first of all, yeah, thank you for coming to my presentation. First of the day. Yeah, everybody's very brave to be here first thing after the party. Um, these are my contact details. Like, feel free to contact me. You can kind of just scan that on LinkedIn and find my profile immediately. The first thing I'd say is that being an entrepreneur is an incredibly hard experience, very difficult. Like saying, I'm still happily married, but the divorce rate for entrepreneurs is very high. I've seen lots of my friends start businesses and fail. It's incredibly tough. Like 9 out of 10 businesses fail. I mean, that's like a real stat, and I've seen that stat play out with my friends. So you can contact me anytime. I'm here to help with any sort of advice about entrepreneurship. You can ask me anything about my journey. I'm happy to provide contacts to help with funding, etc. So just reach out to me and I'll help you out. So my story is around Cognism is really one of incredible success and growth at the moment. Hopefully it stays that way. So we've grown continuously since we started the business. We grew 660% in revenue last year, and we're just about to complete on a Series B where we're raising $10 million next, hopefully in the next month. So that's that it's been incredibly successful, and also it's been incredibly fun. So this is pictures from my Cognism life. That's the team winning the BESMA award, like the best customer service team award last year. That's our staff in Croatia. So we took everybody to party in Croatia last summer, and we're going again in June. This is me with a silly hat in Atlanta, and this is the team. We just recently rebranded. We just had a big conference, and we had a huge success there, most number of leads we've ever had, most number of opportunities. So, it's been very successful. I'm working with an incredible set of people that I didn't know a couple of years ago, and really I'm living like the best time of my life at the moment. But it wasn't always that way. So before Cognism, before all the success, my life, I was a trader. So I used to trade German power, carbon and oil. I had a background as a computer software engineer, so I'd worked in finance my entire career as a Java programmer. And my dream job was to be a trader. So I became a trader. I thought that was, I was done for life. Like, that was my dream. And it turned into like a nightmare of a job. It was completely different from programming. In programming, you sit down, you write a project. In trading, you're pretty much gambling every day. So I was going in, I was having to, I was writing programs that would follow the markets, but I was also myself trading and having to make all these decisions. Every day you deal with failure. You make a bet on the market, and generally you lose, and you're taking a lot of information. So it was an incredibly stressful job. I'd say that my stress levels were up here with trading, and now as an entrepreneur, they're far less. So I was doing this job. I'd built up an incredibly successful trading desk. We'd hit all our targets, and then it got closed down. So we had like a new head of my department came in, and he wasn't he didn't like this type of trading. So he closed the program down. So I'd kind of spent 5 years of my life building this trading desk. It then got shut down, and I suppose at that point in my life, I kind of made this decision that, being in this kind of professional job, the 9-to-5 job, somebody else is always in charge of your destiny. Like, somebody else is always dictating your career. So I really then took that decision to step out and start Cognism. So in 2016, I left my full-time job. I started Cognism. I put all my own money into starting the company. So I put £250,000 myself into funding the company. I was lucky I got into some accelerator programs, FinTech Sandbox in Boston, and then I got into Winton Labs in London. It was incredibly difficult. We managed to build a product. I managed to sell the product. I managed to get funding in London. So we had the Winton Labs accelerator promise funding at that point. And then it all got pulled away. So the funding got pulled away. I ran out of money personally, so I ran out of money to actually fund Cognism. And then I had to then stop and then go back into a consultancy job. So that was like the hardest moment. I really felt I was drowning then. I really had no money. I'd been without income for well over a year. And then I was back in a consultancy job working for somebody else again. And that was probably the worst experience of my working career, was actually having been an entrepreneur, having been my own boss, and then all of a sudden being back working in a 9-to-5 job. So that was probably the lowest point in the Cognism, and it was really a point where I could have quit. So at the same time, my CTO, so because we all run out of money, so he decided to stick and just work for a couple of months for free. And then while I was in that consultancy job, every day I was still looking for funding. So at lunch breaks, I would go out and I'd still look for funding. And then I'd say like that was our Phoenix moment. So after that kind of like that failure point, we kept looking for funding, and then we had a breakthrough. So we had a breakthrough from a company in Switzerland. It was called Netcetra. So they then funded us. I then quit that consultancy job, and then I basically went full time at Cognism. So to say that now it's incredibly successful. So now we have all that growth, we have all that success, but there was that point of failure. There was that point where I really ran out of money, and I could have quit. But one of the things that really helped me and really gave me lots of support was my family. So I say that that's an important part of an entrepreneur's journey, is to have that support network. I had a 1-year-old son in 2017, so just after we got the funding. So this is really just to say that you can kind of live this kind of entrepreneur's life and still have a family. You don't have to sacrifice these things. For me, that's been an incredible part of the journey, is to have that support from my family and my network. And I think one of the big messages about my journey and about entrepreneurship is it's incredibly difficult. It is incredibly hard. Like the first 2 years of my journey, it was really about working late nights. It was about not giving up. For me, entrepreneurship is about hard work. It's about particularly the first 2 years of the journey are going to be incredibly difficult, and you just need to focus and get through that tough period, and then a success will come. These are some of the recommendations I've got in terms of things to read and look at that will help you be a better entrepreneur. So there's Paul Graham, and there's 2 essays on his website that I'd really recommend. One is called How Not to Die. So it's really about not giving up. So it's like that one moment that I had when I ran out of money and we'd been on Accelerator and the funding got pulled. If you just don't give up in those moments, if you just keep going, then you can eventually be successful. The other thing is, these other great essay is do things that don't scale. So that's really about when you build a startup, you don't need to have a complete product. You can iterate and find a path, and that's what we did. Our original product wasn't a success, and then when we got our funding, we pivoted, rebuilt, and then we've had that incredible success from that moment. Another great book is The Hard Thing About Hard Things, about Ben Horowitz's journey. And then I would really recommend this Gary Vee video, A 5-Minute Plea to Do, which is really just about taking action. So not thinking, not strategizing too much, but just building things and iterating and doing things. And that's been a big part of my journey, is just making sure that I've worked, I've just not given up and just kept doing and trying things and selling and pitching and getting feedback from customers, and then just doing those things and iterating, you will, find success. So here's my contact details again. If you have any questions or you want to get any advice about my journey about fundraising, please reach out and contact me. Does anybody have any questions at all? Yep, sure. Oh, sorry.
Thank you for a very good speech. I have a question in a form of, could you finish my sentence? So the first part of the sentence goes, in order to keep my wife happy, I am...
Yeah, I'm making sure that I call her every night. That's one thing. I'm making sure that you have those special moments, you know, when you go back at weekends, that you plan and you spend time with your wife and children. You take them out to special treats and you know, so you create special time, you know, with them. I mean, you need a supportive partner. I mean, this is an incredibly difficult journey. You're not gonna be with them for lots of hours. You know, for the majority of the time, you'll be spending your time with your work colleagues, and you'll be working weekends. You'll have calls that interrupt you. You know, while you're with family time. So you need a partner that your partner needs to understand that. They need to be supportive. They need to understand that this journey you're about to go on is going to be incredibly difficult, and you know that's an important. It's important that you sync up like with that, and because you know there is a stat that for entrepreneurs the divorce rate is far higher because of the sacrifices that you do in terms of your time. Yeah. Anything else? No. Oh, sure.
Yeah, there's a question there. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that 9 out of 10 startups fail, and at one point you did fail.
Yeah.
So how did you know that once you get the funding again, this time you're not going to fail? So how did you know to take the risk?
Yeah, you don't. I mean, I've seen founders and friends that have had seed money, that have had Series A money, then fail, and the businesses like close down. So you know, the thing is, it's incredibly difficult. You know, you're probably likely to fail in your first startup. I mean, that's just the statistics. But you know, if you know, like giving up is also maybe this company is the thing that you're working on right now isn't the thing that's going to be successful. Maybe it's the next project that's going to be successful. You know, you're going to learn lessons from doing this, and the thing is not to, you know, give up on what the ultimate goal is, that you're going to be your own boss, that you're going to be managing your own business, that you can have these incredible times, you're going to, you know, do things that you would never get the chance to do in a corporate job, in a 9-to-5 job, and you'll have so much freedom. So, you know, you want to get to that place, and so you just have to keep working and iterating until you find a successful model for you that's going to get you to that place. And, you know, I just say that from my experience, it's really worth it. Like, my life is, you know, 1,000 times better and more fun and more interesting than it was before I started Cognism, when I was trading and I was in that dream corporate job. My life's way more fun and interesting. So it's worth all that sacrifice, but it is an incredible 2 to 3 years of sacrifice before you get to that point. And maybe even more, but you can keep iterating and, you know, trying new things. And I'd say like the biggest thing is to reach out, build a great network of supporters and friends, like be with people that have been on that journey before and people that are kind of ahead of you in that journey, and just get their feedback, get their advice, absorb, and then you can eventually get to that place too.
Thank you, James.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.